My name is Phineas Pett. I am playing Noel Coward in this production.
And how are you finding playing Noel Coward?
I'm finding it's quite difficult because I'm on more or less the entirety of the whole play. So there's quite a lot of action goes on around him. He's always part of all the different things that go on. So it's quite a challenge. But then there are other aspects of Noel Coward which give a lot of pressure, because I think a lot of people are expecting what they know of Noel Coward, so they sort of come with a sort of predetermined image of what they're expecting to see. But luckily, I'm playing him when he was much younger.
I'm Helen Duff and I'm playing Agatha Christie.
So it's an interesting dynamic as well, because Agatha's the only woman in the play, seemingly the only woman on this island. But what's that like to play?
I was actually having a conversation with some girls last night. In terms of professionally, it's not unusual. Whereas in another play, you might have the worry of being under threat sexually from if you were only woman in a hotel.
Yes.
A, I don't think she thinks about that because she's in so much, she's kind of within her own thoughts anyway. But B, they're all gay. So everyone in the hotel is gay.
Do you like Noel Coward?
I do. I've always found it very witty.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I think he might have been a bit of a nightmare to have been quite close to as a friend, because in the play, as you will see, he can be really quite frightful and quite nasty, but he doesn't realise he's being nasty. He's just being Noel at the end of the day. He's just so articulate, but he can be very biting with his wit and things like that. Like, he's not very nice to Agatha Christie. I'm not sure if he's particularly nice to sort of women that he doesn't really appreciate.
My name is David Alderman and I'm playing the character of Tono, also known as Lord Bungay, isn't he?
He is. I am Rob Pomfret and I am playing the part of Cyril, who is known as Cyril.
What's it like slipping back into Cyril?
Slipping back into Cyril. That is a lot of what the play is about in many ways. No, it's great fun. It's great.
Looking at me. What do I like most? I like the fact
he's very louche, isn't he?
He's very louche.
I'm feeling you'd say that.
Yeah.
I am Matthew Alexander and I'm playing J-Boy. He's an interesting character. He has an interesting journey. He starts off as a bit of a playboy, bit of a kind of young rogue, and by the end of the play he's, well, I won't give it away, but he's somewhat opposite to that.
I'm sure I went to Harrow or Wellington.
Not Eton?
No.
Definitely not.
Not Eton.
The other place.
Yeah,
Yes.
let's see.
That's the character choice.
That's historical facts.
Yeah. But it's quite a young cast, isn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting because all the sort of characters who are quite famous are all very, very young. So sort of most of the characters in it are all quite famous for when they're much older. So we're seeing them before they become sort of the big stars that they were, especially with Agatha Christie.
Oh, this is it. We think there's actually a lot more to Cyril. We could do the whole show behind doors. See what does happen to him. See what happens when the mask is raised or lowered.
You'll have to suggest it to Jeremy Kingston.
I think yes, we should have the tour of Making Dickie Happy with Jeremy's new work, Behind Doors, or Cyril,
Behind the Doors,
Cyril Unmasked.
What's your second name? Do you know?
Well, this is very interesting.
I want to say Bergerac for some reason.
It's actually Bungay, which never comes out.
Long lost cousin.
We've probably given away too much. But yeah, we're saving this. This was meant to come out only if you come and see the other show once it's written. Once it's written.
And there's a wonderful scene in the second half, which is pretty much just a great meeting of intellectual minds. Agatha Christie and Noel Coward talking about the world. So yeah.
So what's it like stepping into the 1920s then for this?
I love it. I think it's great. Cocktails and we had a costume the other day, and the costumes are great, as well. You just kind of feel. I don't know. I feel like glamorous.
The highest trousers I think I've ever worn in my life.
Because the suits are all really cool, and it's very, very sort of sophisticated look and things like that in the 1920s. There's nothing particularly grungy.
I've never done a play set in the 1920s before. It's Giant trousers are interesting to get used to. I think I could probably fit about 2 of me inside the trousers that I'm wearing.
It's interesting because the play that Jeremy's written is not a sort of bare your soul, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm going through. It's very much of the time. It's being true to that. It's not like a modern take on the 1920s, it's true to how they would have interacted then. So as a result, you've got all this stuff going on inside you, but you're not saying any of it.
But and we drink a lot as well, but I don't think we'll be.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that the production aren't going to take too kindly just insisting on real alcohol in the cocktails. We may have to.
It's always interesting working on a show that is set in a different time period to yours, because it's little things that you take for granted that were so different, just like social etiquette. You know, whether you would wear a hat indoors or not. Things like today, we don't really have any of that anymore. There is no social etiquette to that extent. People just kind of sort of freer. People do what they want and go where they want, say what they want, and then I think it's interesting. The most interesting I've found doing this is the way there's only one woman in the play, Agatha, and the way all the men interact with her when they're on their own with her or when there's a group of them and her. Kind of socially things shift, so that's been quite interesting in terms of working in the 1920s.
It's still a crime to accuse anybody of it. If I was to ever, there's one moment in the script where I'm suggesting that the reason Lord Lewis shouldn't marry Edwina Ashley is because he might be not of the marrying kind. She can't bring herself to say gay, and that's not just because she can't bring herself to say it, it's also because if she were to say it, it would be libel.
So how are you feeling about opening night coming up?
Good. I think it'll be great once we get in the theatre. I smoke nearly constantly in the first act, so it's just making sure I know where to put the cigarettes out and not be like a fag Ash Lil and have a, you know.
These dreadful herbal cigarettes which smell like a bonfire.
How are you getting on with them, herbal cigarettes?
Fine. They taste revolting, but it's something you just have to go through and.
Your director Robert Gillespie is happy with that, is he? Because you've worked with him before, haven't you?
Actively encourages it.
Not being scared away?
No, he is very possibly my best employer. No, I've done other Jeremy Kingston shows as well as this, Shakespeare and.
But it's great. Robert's a good director because he's trained as an actor beforehand. It's quite nice to work with a director who is initially an actor because they kind of see. The process of rehearsal through the same sort of viewfinder as you do. Yes. They're not just trying to create a picture, they understand how, as an actor, you need to kind of mess it up quite a lot before you can get it right. So it's nice actually, it's a very sort of safe environment to work in and feel like you can mess up, basically, which is always useful.
He's a wonderful director in that he is an actor himself and does understand exactly where you're coming from as an actor and can empathise with everything that you go through as an emotional journey or trying to get the laugh right, the line, your timing and everything is great to learn with. I think, you always get a good show because he gets the best out of the cast. Everyone is relaxed enough to be fairly open, and there have been a few afternoons of giggles going on, which it's healthy. It's bonding. It's not mucking about at all. It's very, very healthy for a cast to be in fits of giggles throughout their lines.
But I defy anybody else who doesn't do that. Somebody thinks that blast is a good word just to use when things go wrong. They're not a friend of mine.